Now we're going to look at a more complex function of our application. This is the check in out script, in which the employee is able to check a video in or out of the video shop. First thing that they need to be able to do with this part of the application is to bring up our customer's details so that they'll know who to check the video out to. They'll also need to see the customer's rentals and see whether any of those are overdue and so on. You also need to be able to return a video that's on time. We need to return a late video and pay the fine if the customer's there to do so. If the customer just drops in the video, we also need to be able to return the late video without paying, and therefore add a note of this to the general customer account to make sure that they pay the fine at some point later on down the track before they're able to take out any more videos. We also need to be able to let the customer pay any outstanding fines on their account. We also need to be able to locate the video details to check out a particular video, and we also need to actually check the video out. First of all, let's look at showing the customer's details. The SQL query, I should say, which we use to accomplish this is different depending on what the search criteria is. If the customer comes in with their membership card, we can assume that they'll have their ID printed on it and will just simply be a matter of typing in the number, in which case our SQL query is quite a simple one. We select all the columns from the customers table and we use as a criteria for selection the ID. Here, as you can see, we've used a variable within the script. This is an application variable, and I've shown all these in light blue and in italics to show that this is not actually part of the SQL query, but something that will have to be replaced by the application itself. We can also run a search by name. This is slightly more complex. We're able to search by first name and surname, and we can use the like operator to compare with a particular pattern. We can also search for a customer simply by the video that's being returned. This is particularly important when the customer just drops the video off outside of the office hours. We can then simply type in the integer variable for the video that's been returned, and this particular select query will return the customer to which the video has been rendered. How this is accomplished is by drawing the information from the customers and the copies tables, and we use as the joining criteria the rendered to column on the copies table compared with the ID column on the customers table. We use the copies ID as the variable for searching because we're searching by the returned video. If we wish to view the customer's current rentals, and this will, in terms of the application, be part of showing the details of the customer. However, in terms of the SQL that we need to access information, it'll have to be a separate query. Let's take a look. Here we already know the customer ID. We've found that in the first query, and what we're able to do is to pull in the information from the copies table, the films table, and the charges table. And here we're pulling in the ID of the video and also the title of the film. Because we separated the films table from the copies table, we have to join these two tables to get the name of the video from the simple ID of the particular copy. We're also pulling in the information for the late fees, which we pull in from the charges table. We've used the Unix _timestamp function over here, and this essentially converts the standard date column information into Unix timestamp format, which is represented by the number of seconds since the beginning of the Unix era, 1970. This is relevant for the particular way in which the application processes the data, not something that we need to worry about too much in terms of the SQL query. So this pulls in the date at which all the customers' rentals are due back, and then the application handles the working out how much they owe on each rental, if anything at all. So the bulk of the work for this query is done by the application. Later on we're going to see an instance in which the SQL query itself has to work out how much the customer owes on their videos. This is a more complex query, and we're going to see it on the listDebtors.php script, which is the last one that we're going to look at in this chapter.